introduce yourself?
Sure. Kia ora, my name's Peter Zay. I'm helping Emmett out tonight with the panel, which is really exciting that we are taking part in the National Schools Pride Week. I'm up in Auckland. I'm the Auckland, did I say I'm the Auckland Schools Coordinator? I'm not sure. Either way, that's me. And yeah, so it's really exciting to see all the other schools that are doing Pride Week this week. And I'm really excited to see the Auckland schools that have organised to do it at a later date. But nevertheless, it's great that we can be on Zoom and have so many people show up tonight.
Absolutely. Okay, so we have some amazing panelists. Some of them are part of the youth advisory group that helped us to create the National Schools Pride Week and make sure that it worked for you, not just what we thought you would like, as well as some other really wonderful people from who are part of like organising rainbow stuff in their diversity group at their school. So we'll go through and do some introductions, and we'd love to hear from our panelists about what your favourite part of being part of the youth advisory group or organising Pride Week in your school has been. We're going to start with Hale. So Hale, they are a year 13 from Villa Maria College. They've recently had the thumbs up to start their school's very first QSA, which is very, very exciting. And in their spare time, they enjoy doing arts and crafts or hanging out with their 8 guinea pigs. That is a whole lot of guinea pigs. So where are you? I'm just trying to find you on the screen so we can spotlight you. Hale, do you want to tell us what your favourite part of being part of the youth advisory group has been?
I think my favorite part of being a part of the youth advisory group was probably having the insight into work-oriented people. I was able to, put some input from my peers who were struggling to put together a QSA at our school, and then I was able to put their thoughts forward into what we are having now, the National Schools Pride Week, and I thought that was pretty cool. Yeah.
Thanks, Hale. Yeah, it's really cool to hear about that personal experience that you bring to your role of supporting the group and being involved. Next up, we have Max. Max is a year 13 student from Botany Downs Secondary School in Auckland. He is very involved with his school's QSA, so Queer Straight Alliance group, and trying to launch it very soon during Pride Week, which is obviously has been postponed due to lockdown in Auckland. He loves to cook and bake and is going to a French culinary school in Wellington next year to become a chef. So we'll pass it over to Max to let us know what he likes about being a part of the advisory group or organising Pride with his school. If I can find you, Max.
Hello, my name is Max. My favorite part of being one of the youth advisory group members is that it just opened my eyes to more diverse input, diverse opinions, and diverse people that within our community, because I never really had that before. And it just gave me an opportunity to have a platform to express what interest I have and opinions that I think would benefit the community as a whole. Thank you.
Awesome, that's really great to hear, and thank you very much for that. Now we're going on to Katie. So Katie is a year 13 at Cambridge High School who runs her school's unofficial QSA called Spectrum, where they all hang out and have a really good time. Katie really enjoys hanging out with her cat and dog. Lots of pets tonight, I love this, as well as friends. And her school hasn't really done too much for Pride Week, but they are already planning for next year. So way, way ahead of the rest of us, ready to go. And I'll pop you on spotlight, Katie.
Yeah, hi. Yeah, so we're not doing Pride Week this week, really. We decided that it was too much for everyone and we'd just get a head start on next year because we want it to be as good as it can be. My favourite part of being a part of the youth advisory group has really just been taking advice from the other people in the group and putting it into my QSA and making it as good as we can and as official as we can without being actually official.
Thanks, Katie. I really liked what you said about the fact that you were like, right, we're going to postpone it till next year and make it the best that we can be. Because I think at the end of the day, that's what really matters, is that Pride is, I guess, the best it can be and something manageable for us. Thanks for that. Next, we have Ty. So Ty is a year 13 at Te Awamutu College, who is the leader of his school's diversity committee. For the past 3 years, the diversity group has run a Pride Week in their school, so they've been ahead of the game there. He spends most of the school day in the arts room and is pretty good at annoying the teachers there. In his spare time, he likes to sleep and play with animals, including his pet bird Banana, who I think is making an appearance.
Yes, he is sitting on my head because he's decided that he wants to. My favorite part of being in our diversity group has really just been being able to create a safe space for young students to come into and meet other people like them so that they know that they're not the only one. So that's been pretty good.
I love that your lovely bird. I forgot what was your Banana has been contributing as well. That's really cool. And also from your school, next up we have Oksana, who's another year 13 at Te Awamutu College, a past leader of the school's diversity group and a current head girl and LGBTQ+ advocate. So she helped start the school's first diversity group in Pride Week and has been a part of that group since the beginning. And she likes to spend time with her totally trained German Shepherd and also lighting candles. I love that. There you are.
Hi. Yep. So my favorite part of like our school Pride Week is we've managed to incorporate a lot of stuff. Over the past 3 years, we got to refine a lot and see what we can do and what's really effective. And we've done a lot of stuff to do with what alliance can look like and what individuality can look like and what pride can look like outside of just the LGBT community and really connect it with the rest of the school and get every class and as many students as we can involved. Yep.
Amazing. That's so good. Thank you. So the next little thing we're going to go on to before we get into some real interesting questions is we want to hear both from our panelists and from people who are joining us, whether that's on Zoom or on Facebook, what you've been doing for Pride Week this week. So you've got a few options. You can type it into the chat. And a good trick there is that just type 3 dots and then hit enter and then type the rest, and that way we know we need to wait for you to type it out. Or just let us know if you want to come on video or mic to share a little bit about that. So how about while we give people a chance to put some stuff in, do any of our panelists want to tell us something like cool or interesting that they've done for this Pride Week, or maybe in Katie's case that you're planning for next year's Pride Week? Oh, Max has got something to share with us shortly. We've been seeing lots of really great photos. Tabby was showing us just before some amazing looking cakes that people have been making, which I love. Food is such a good way to connect when you're able to.
I guess I could say something if you can. So a thing that we've done a couple times now is called Appreciation Day. So we make cards and get little chocolates and we sell them to people, and they say who they're giving it to and write the person's name in a card, and we deliver them a different day to the person. And it can either be anonymous or not, but we've just used it to be a good way to show people that they appreciate them without having to be too confrontational. Like, you don't have to go to them. So we found that that's a really nice way to get people involved that aren't necessarily LGBT, but still want to show someone that they appreciate them.
I really like that. That's like a really lovely, like positive thing to be bringing, which is really good because as well as just celebrating like ourselves and our identities, it's also about celebrating the awesome people around us. And Max has just shared that because their school is in Auckland, it's been postponed until the 16th of October, which is merging it with Pink Shirt Day, which is a really cool idea. So Pink Shirt Day got moved from May to the 16th of October, which is a Friday. So combining those two is a great option. Also, because there are mock exams and other events and things going on as soon as you get back to school on Monday, and I assume it's going to be pretty hectic and pretty full on. So if you are watching this or you're in Auckland and you're thinking about things, like take your time, don't stress out too much over it, and just, we've all got to learn how to be flexible. Were there any other people who wanted to share anything? Oh, yeah, absolutely, Laura, we'd love that.
So on Monday, we had a sort of dance party. So we went to our usual GSA room and we were like playing music from a playlist that the teacher running it set up, and we got to add songs and stuff. So that was really fun. The next day we made bracelets. So a lot of people were making them like the pride flag colors. Wednesday we ended school early, and today we didn't have school because of academic counseling, but tomorrow we're having another meeting where we're going to have a shared lunch. So yeah.
That's so wonderful. Like, I think we all need some, especially at the moment, some ways to like get some energy out and just be positive and feel good about ourselves and good about each other.
I've got a couple of comments from the Facebook feed as well. Some people saying that they're in lockdown and they're not doing Pride this week, which of course is heartbreaking in some ways, but also, as Max has said and as Katie's pointed out, postponing it is a fantastic idea as well. And we've got someone else saying that their schools have got a panelist on the call, so they'll be listening to, I guess, and supporting what that person is going to say. Sage said, my school in Central Southland isn't doing Pride Week this week, but we're doing it the week of Pink Shirt Day, so that we're able to do a mufti day and have time to prepare for it, because our rainbow group only started 3 weeks ago. So that's really exciting though.
It's very new. That's awesome. I think Liam's typing some stuff up, but in the meantime, yeah, Felix, feel free to share if you'd like to. We'd love to hear from you.
Today my school had a fundraising day for Inside Out, where we didn't have to wear our uniforms, and the theme was kind of dressed in rainbow, and I was really surprised by the amount of people who actually went along with it. And I saw a lot of people running around our school like with pride flags as capes. So
Wow, that must have felt really wonderful to kind of see that going around and seeing people kind of committing to it, which is so wonderful. Oh, okay, here we go. So this is from Liam. So Liam uses he, him pronouns, and he's a year 12 student at Wellington East Girls College, and his school's been running a Pride Week for several years, which is really cool. And we've already held your Pride Week over 2 weeks ago. So it didn't kind of line up with the dates, which unfortunately we tried very hard, but it wasn't going to be able to line up with everyone's dates. That's okay. And most of the events they run there are about making it clear to everyone that it's okay to be gay, and it's things like holding drag shows, rainbow non-uniform days, and several lunchtime arts and crafts projects. That sounds really fun and really exciting. and there have been some amazing schools that have been running Pride Weeks for a couple of years now. And so I guess thanks to them for letting us know that it can be done and encouraging us and inspiring us to make this a national thing. Is there anyone else or any more questions on the Facebook feed, Peter, or should we move into questions?
We do have a question on the Facebook feed from Nate. So Nate said, for any potential school faculty joining us tonight, how can they best support your diversity groups or hold space in schools for rainbow rangatahi?
Oh, that's a very good question. I think Lauren is just typing about something happening in school, but why don't we, we'll keep sharing it on the in the comments, but maybe we'll move on to that first question. Did any of our panelists want to have a go at answering that first off?
Yeah, I'll go. I think it's about making yourself known to the youth and making them aware that you are a supportive person and you will create a safe environment, and that you're willing to help them out, you're willing to be there for them, and even just talking to them, making sure that everything's all right. Just making yourself known, I think, is really important.
We're getting some more questions in the chat, so if you have any, please feel free to put those in. Did anyone else want to feed into that question we just had about sort of faculty? Feel free to just unmute yourself and go for it. You don't need to ask permission or anything. Yeah.
Okay. I think that it would be ideal if, as much as everyone should have their own opinions, and that's okay, don't insert your beliefs so much on somebody who is going something, they're going through something new to them. It might be new to them, it might be something that they're already going through and they understand. Don't insert yourself so much into their situation if you don't fully understand.
It's a really good point, that kind of idea of just needing to kind of be there and support them, not having to like get it or agree. It's really valuable.
Just have that empathy for or sympathy for other people.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. And I'll just share Lauren about what's happening in Lauren's school. So it's in Dunedin and haven't been able to do much as the school wouldn't let them do anything massive, but there is a Mufti Day tomorrow in a rainbow theme, which is exciting. Some people got pride flags and rainbow clothes and made a Kahoot for the whole school to play. I got introduced to those last year and they were amazing. And put up LGBTQIAPK+ posters everywhere. So that's really cool, getting to have that kind of visual stuff. I would like to jump to one of the questions we kind of had prepared because I think it's really interesting. Let me bring my questions up. Have you seen any, for those of you who have been doing Pride Week this week, have you seen any benefits so far from having Pride Week in your community or planning for it or promoting it or anything? And what's the response been like from your school?
I can go for that one. Yeah. So I guess one of the main things I've noticed is seeing students or teachers even that you wouldn't think would be supportive actually supporting what we do. Like just talking to classmates about Pride Week and events we're doing, and they actually get behind it and encourage it, which is really nice to see.
Shall I go next?
Yeah, that would be good.
I think that it's great that we're having this Pride Week because it's really pushing our students to step forward, because sometimes there are issues where you can't just wait for something to happen. In some schools, this is like a big step forward, and it's like really bringing up the issue. Like it's something that shouldn't be hidden anymore, and I think that's what it's done to our school. It hasn't been hasn't been extravagant, but it's wasn't like received as negatively as we thought. So yeah, that was great.
Cool. I know it's a bit tricky because some of you haven't been able to have your Pride Week this week, but perhaps for people who had to postpone it or cancel it, have you noticed any response to like planning the school? Was it easy to go ahead and do this, or was it a bit tough?
Yeah, for my school in Auckland, we postponed it. We got lots of great positive feedback to move it like forward, to like actually do it, because they want us to give a platform for our QSA to actually launch and just include more people to the group, because we only have around like 10-20 people right now in our QSA. We just want to launch it and give it a bigger platform for everyone to join, not just queer people. We can have straight people, and whoever, they can just join.
Awesome.
Great. Does anybody else have any stories about how the planning's been going for Pride Week leading up?
I'll just say that our group stays very much in our little room that we have, and today everyone was out running around with the flag because everyone's just so excited that we're going to have this opportunity, and it's kind of made it more of an open thing than a little closed off group in a dark room. I guess it's kind of became more of a school-wide thing, which was pretty cool. We had some people who had never showed up before because they just saw us. They didn't know we existed, and they're like, yeah. So that's exciting to see, just by talking about what could happen in the planning stages.
That's amazing. Thanks, Katie. Yeah, it's really great to hear by just existing in a school, how much even that can make a difference. So appreciate you all for, taking the lead in the schools you are in. And as you've said throughout some of the comments you've said is how Pride Week can be a great chance for allies to step forward and really help hold that flag as well, and how important that is. One of the messages from Facebook, from Kiwi Community Child Protection Training, they say, I deliver mates and dates, and us facilitators wore the awesome stickers you made available. I think they mean Inside Out. Discuss the Pride Week and the support available with Rainbow Youth and Outline. I was in Mount Maunganui College yesterday and Tauranga Boys High School, and I will be sharing the messages again tomorrow. So that's really great to hear that people are taking these messages to schools as well, which is nice. Which is a nice segue into, do any of the panelists have stories about things school staff members have done to show support for Rainbow students?
I have a pretty good one. One of our art teachers has this thing of, if students have changed their name or would like to be referred to as another name, every time that the teacher gets it wrong, he will make you tally it up into a list, and at the end of the year, he'll get you however many lollies that he's like said it incorrectly, which I got last year. I think last year, might have been the year before, and now one of my friends is getting that too, and I think that's just an awesome way of doing it and reminding yourself to change it in your brain, Okay.
I really like that. I think that's like, sometimes I think about, it's like maybe I need like a little spray bottle like use with cats when they're being annoying, but I feel like lollies is like actually like a way more positive approach to it, that is like supporting you instead of just spritzing the badly behaved other person, which is really cool. Anybody else have some cool stories about staff that have supported rainbow people or rainbow things in their school?
Yeah. At our school, we used to have a teacher who was very vocal about her opinions. She was a great teacher. She was definitely all out for the rainbow community. She was one of the, I think, first teachers that we knew that would very much support us. I think raised the issue to like the up there teachers, and then I think from there on we kind of slowly built up from her kind of power in the school as a teacher. You get what I mean? Yeah, and I think that was great that she really was really vocal for us. Yeah.
That's great, Hale. I'm so glad that you had a teacher to be on your side through all that as well. Yeah, that's cool. Just a reminder that if you have any questions, feel free to pop them in the chat, or if you're watching on Facebook, yeah, please let us know if there's anything you'd like us to ask our lovely panel.
And I think if anyone has some cool stories about ways staff have shown rainbow support, feel free to pop those in the chat as well. We'd love to hear them. Did any of our other panelists want to share anything about a staff member before we move on to the next question? All good. So the next question I think is specifically for Hale, because it's a question about single-sex schools. And do you have any advice for those kind of schools that are wanting to support rainbow students? Because it's quite a kind of specific dynamic, that sort of school.
Yeah, righty. Yeah, it is a bit harder for, being in a single-sex school, just because I feel like there are a lot of similar-minded ideas, and sometimes it's hard to normalize an idea that's outside the normal idea, if you get what I mean. I did write down some points beforehand. I was a bit prepared. So I think it'd be best to monitor and then mitigate the gender and sexuality stereotypes in single-sex schools. Mainly because I feel like stereotypes again makes it hard to, self-express. It's for everybody, not just rainbow students. And then change becomes hard when a label is like negatively connotated. And I think it's just hard for absolutely everybody, not just rainbow students again. And if you don't call out an issue, then you can't really if you can't call out people for like behaviors, they might not change, or they kind of need to see what their actions will do. And if you are able to find a way where you can address it in a positive manner, then I think that's really good. Yeah.
So really that tackling that like underground, like foundational stuff to begin with.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And recognizing too that the things we do for rainbow students are generally good for everyone.
Absolutely.
And that we're just asking for everyone to have the same awesome positive things.
Yeah, just like be understanding to people on both sides. Like you might not know where this person is coming from, what they've been raised with, and all their values and such. Just be understanding of everybody.
Sure.
Absolutely. We've got a couple more questions or comments on the Facebook feed, but thanks, Hale. I really appreciated that. I went to a single-sex school as well, and Tabby was showing us some cakes that they made before jumping on the Zoom. So it's nice to know years down the line that, schools get there. They get there in the end. But from our Facebook feed, someone saying, yes, our school has a teacher to roster in and out of the rainbow group, and some of the teachers have begun putting up pride flags in their classroom. So teachers sharing that responsibility of showing up to the rainbow group and then also putting pride flags in their classrooms as well. And another person has said, I heard a teacher reminding girls to include girlfriend as well as boyfriend when talking about relationships and discussing partners. So that's really important too. And that's at a single-sex school. yeah, so just really, I guess, basic ways that we can help include everybody in our school lives. We've got another question before anybody else wants to go on. So this person says, hi, I'm a teacher, and my reason for coming online tonight was the intermediate experiences of our panel. Did they have any support? And if not, what or who did they speak to? So there's a few questions in this. I'll say it and then I'll repeat it again. Or did they speak to any of the teachers within the school? So thinking back to when you were at intermediate, what type of support was available? And if there wasn't any, how did you navigate that? So yeah, did you speak to teachers at school?
Yep, I've got a story.
Oh, take it away, Oksana.
Yeah, so intermediate was it's a really good target place for help, I think, because the intermediate I went to, we didn't have any information about LGBT at all. We started learning, like we had the pubertal change unit and started learning about relationships and things, and there was absolutely nothing on LGBT, and it was really difficult because I knew of other people, and I knew I wasn't the only one there who was going through it, but because all of us were receiving the same lack of understanding from within school, and also parents, if we managed to reach out, it was really hard to face it. And we didn't have guidance counselors, and a lot of our teachers were quite conservative, and we had we didn't go to a religious school, but we had religious assemblies, and just all of it was quite pushed away from LGBT. So definitely made it really hard. But coming into college, it was such a breath of fresh air to have the diversity group, guidance counselors, all of that.
Oh, that sounds really tough, but also really positive that when you moved through that you were able to have that. Do any of our other panelists have any stories as well, and anyone else as well to lead and follow on from Oksana's amazing sharing? Sounds very tough, and thank you for sharing that with us.
I would agree with that. In middle school, intermediate, there wasn't a lot of, it just wasn't mentioned. It was like it wasn't a thing, it wasn't allowed to be talked about. So going to high school is quite relieving in that aspect. But it's quite a hard thing to go through when you're an intermediate and no one's discussing it, no one's talking about it. You're going through it by yourself because there's no talk about it, so it must be wrong. So it's quite, it was quite hard. There was no support available or anything really. No education was a big thing too.
That's a really good point. Yeah, it's when it kind of gets hidden away, the implication is that it's wrong, and that when we don't talk about things in a positive way, the only thing we hear are negative comments that people make, which is really unfortunate.
Yeah, I agree. In my not so much middle school, I went to a Catholic primary school, so elementary and intermediate were kind of integrated. There wasn't a lot of education on it, and I'm guilty myself of calling out people for their own sexualities, and I did feel bad, but it's just because I didn't understand it at the time. I became insecure, and so I became a bit of a bully myself, unfortunately. Thank goodness that relationship ended on a good note, because I was able to have some insight on their perspective and what they're going through. So I think that it should be addressed, because I think in intermediate, that's the time where you are beginning your transition into high school and adolescence. So yeah, it's definitely a time where it should be addressed.
Wow. Yeah, thank you for sharing that. That's really powerful, because you're right, you are kind of moving forward into the space where you're kind of more responsible for your own actions and your own behavior, and I know I definitely did, like at high school, some stuff I look back, I'm like, wow, maybe that wasn't great. And if I'd maybe had the right education and the right knowledge, I could have made decisions and acted in ways that actually lined up with who I was. So I can imagine, yeah, for sure. And we've got Abby, so someone who's watching wants to come on mic and just share a little story. And then we've got a bit of a follow-up question. So Abby, did you want to share with us?
Yep, kia ora everyone. My good friend has just finished, she graduated to be a primary school teacher. And I asked her, just out of curiosity, within her training, did they have like a topic on how to engage with rainbow students and things like that? And she said, unfortunately, in her college that she went to, she didn't, but she's just got this job at a new primary school in Christchurch, sorry. And she said she was reading through their school's handbook, and it said in there, students can choose their uniform. There is no girl or boy uniform. They can choose based on their choice of gender identity. She also said that every day a new flag from a different country goes on the flag pole, and they've just ordered a pride flag. So I thought that was so cool to see that primary schools are starting to engage with that, and you know, the earlier that it gets spoken about and all of that, the more normalized it gets, which I just think is awesome. So yeah.
Oh, that's so good to hear. Thank you for sharing that with us. On a kind of similar note, Sebi has just shared to say that at Sebi's intermediate, her principal and deputy principal is very supportive of all the LGBTIQ+ students at the school, and Sebi's just starting to form a club for all the other LGBTQI+ students. That's so amazing. That's really good to hear. And Josh is also sharing, so when he was at intermediate, he knew he was gay but was scared to say anything because we just didn't talk about LGBT+ issues, but found it really nice to have some classmates say things like, when I have a wife or a husband, as it really helped him understand that it's completely normal and okay. No one ever said it was wrong to be LGBT+, but it's important to show support to make this clear. That's such a good point. Like, it's not just the absence of saying it's bad. You need someone to tell you that it's good and okay as well. That's so lovely. And then there was a follow-up question about intermediates. So what would you suggest on how teachers should handle situations like if there are LGBT students struggling with bullying? Any thoughts on that, maybe from our panelists first?
I would say just making yourself available and known is an important first step, so they know that they can come to you and talk about it if it's not happening directly in front of you. And if it is happening directly in front of you, talk up, speak about it, but don't make it a negative, hey, this is bad. Make it, this isn't good because this is how it affects this, and this is where that slur comes from, and kind of educate people. Because they don't all know, like, it's not talked about at all, so how are they meant to know? They just hear these words and start using the insults without really understanding the effect of them. So I think a big part of it is making yourself known and then educating.
Yeah, that's so true, really getting to the bottom of it, not just the surface level stuff. So.
I really like what everybody's saying as well. I think throughout all the comments about intermediate schools and primary schools is that really actually having the conversations around us would help make it so much better, and would help also us if we were engaging in quite problematic and bullying behavior, which, you know, I think some of us can look back and go, oh, that wasn't great, but I kind of was just following the lead of everybody else around me, or I just didn't know any better. So yeah, even if teaching facilities aren't doing it, I'm really glad to hear that primary schools are taking the lead as well, and doing it themselves. So yeah, it sounds like the exposure and just representation has been massive.
Amazing. did you have any comments over or questions over on Facebook there, Peter, or should we go on to the next one?
We had one comment where it says, sorry, where a person said, my school did sex ed and only talked about the LGBT community for about 20 minutes and it wasn't really taken seriously. So yeah, just this theme of being brushed over and being an afterthought seems to be really, yeah, not a great one.
Absolutely. How about another question then? What tips do people have for supporting gender neutral pronouns, or I guess any pronouns in a school and also in a single sex school specifically? Like, how can you help people? We've already heard one great idea with lollies, which I think is really cool, but you know, different people need different approaches. Does anyone have some tricks or ideas or things that have worked really well, either for an individual learning to change their pronoun or advocating for the change of pronouns within their schools? Well, because I see lots of thinking faces. One that my mum, bless, one that she likes to say is that she when I started changing, like, for example, my name or my pronouns, she went into her phone and changed it on there. So every time she would see a text from me, that would be there really like up front and center. So, you know, just putting those things in places where they can really be seen. Any other tips, tricks, ideas, thoughts?
My school is so you know how this year we made the little stickers with the pronouns. This year we're planning to utilize it at our school, and we're hoping for our little group of students to wear their preferred pronouns on their uniform. And if students had a question about them or why they chose this gender identity, then feel free to approach them, you know, respectfully, because like people wouldn't know, and I think it's best to educate people face to face, because then you get a, you know, straight up reason of why this person wants to do this, and you know, not everything can be the same for everyone, you know.
Yeah, I really like that, kind of normalizing it and yeah, making it personal. Felix, did you want to have a share something with us? Please go ahead.
I know if you want to get your pronouns or name changed, that if you go to and you're at a school, when it comes to teachers, if you go to an office, if you go to your school's office, you can get a note on your like attendance roll that basically says, these are my pronouns, like, and I decided to I want to change my name to this.
Awesome. So that's, yeah, going in there so that whenever they see your name or whatever popping up, that's they're seeing who you really are, not just like what their documents had. Do we have any other, either from our panelists or people joining us here on Facebook, any thoughts, tips, tricks?
One of the schools that I visited and was chatting about one of their events that they were planning for Pride Week, Linfield College, their peer support group and their diversity group were working together to create keychains with their pronouns on it that they could give out to the school. So, you know, those little bracelets that people often wear and they have letters on them. So it was going to be with those, and you could make your pronouns. And it turns out you need lots of H's, because H is in every single pronoun, or of the three main ones if we're talking about those. So yeah, having, you know, cute little identifying ways just like that helps create some community in the sense of everybody's got pronouns as well. So yeah, that's a fun way to, I guess, create conversation around pronouns. But also, before I pass on to someone else, I just want to give a shout out to Sophia, who commented on Facebook, and they said, "Thank you so much. I recently came out as trans to my class, so this is really helpful." So thanks so much, Sophia, for being here and for sharing that with us.
Awesome. Did we have any other thoughts about pronouns? Or do we want to move on to another question?
I think that for the pronouns, I think just being able to ask someone what they want to be, like, what their pronouns are, to be respectful to them. Or if you don't really know, you could just call them by their name. I don't think that would really, that would help, I think.
I think we're definitely finding this year, we're doing all these things online and we might not be seeing someone face to face. So we're not having that opportunity to do that thing we're trained into where we look at a person and we're like, I'm guessing that your gender is this and therefore your pronouns are this. We're actually being like, no, I have to ask this person if I want to know that about them. And yeah, just having, like, making that a normal thing or using their name is a really good option. I had a question that I wanted to throw out there, especially for our panelists, and of course for other people too. So this is Pride Week, right? We're about being proud of who we are and ourselves. So I would like to know what's one thing about our rainbow communities that you are really proud of and makes you feel really good to be a part of that community. Lots of thinking faces. I threw a big one at them all of a sudden.
Yeah, it's hard to think about one thing.
Me.
I'll start. I think it's the support system, the friends that I would never have met, the people I would have never met, the teachers that I would never have talked to and become close with, and the way that I'm able to support some of our younger students on their journey is quite cool. It's like a big community and it's quite nice, and it's also an escape for some people to be around people that are like them. They don't have that at home or in their personal lives, so it's quite cool to be a part of it and just learn from each other.
So nice.
Yeah, I agree. Being able to be a support person for somebody else who's not so sure about themselves. I think that's a great feeling for both people, because then it helps you know that you're helping somebody, and I think that's a good positive change, and that person is also receiving help. Yeah.
Learning to be helped as well as to help, that's really
absolutely.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with all of that. I feel like it's such a good thing to just have an immediate kind of bond where you can help people, especially who are younger than you and are first going through it. It's really nice to just have that bond and be that support and just be able to say, hey, I can understand what you're going through. I can help you. I can support you. I just love the support that automatically gets built between people in the Pride Rainbow community.
I think the feeling of not being alone as well. You know how this is a school's Pride Week. This is mainly for students and teachers alike, and for everybody else around the country to feel like there's a certain age group that can do something about their identities and share their experiences. I think it's a great feeling to have that there are other people like you.
For sure.
It's amazing.
And you not necessarily you're exactly the same, but you're both different, and that's kind of what you have alike. That's really cool. Sorry, Peter.
No, I was just taking it all in. There's lots of love here, as someone commented on Facebook saying, I'm guessing what they love about the community is how loving and understanding everyone is. I'm able to make so many friends that I wouldn't have been able to before. It helps us to know that we aren't alone and that who we are isn't wrong. So thanks, Sage, for sharing that. And another comment from Libby. I'm a teacher at a college, and behind the scenes, we have been doing a lot of work to support the rainbow community. we surveyed the students asking about pronouns and whether caregivers know, and we will compile and share what is appropriate with other teachers and staff. So those are really fantastic ways to support our rainbow young people at schools. I think we also have another question. I can see Abby's typing, so I'll let them do that. But after that, we've got one more question from Sophia as well. Or should I just say it now? Why don't we go with Sophia's question and then we'll come back to the other comments. So we know that there's lots of love in the community. So Sophia asks, how do we deal with rainbow specific bullying at school? If anybody wants to speak to that.
Education. It's just through correcting people and making sure they understand and just going into the deeper bit, not just glazing over it, being like, that's not okay. It's just, you've got to get down to the nitty gritty stuff and talk about the effect that it has on people and that kind of thing. Like make it personal, make it about what it is about, not personal, sorry, but like make it not just, it's not the same as normal bullying. It's like, it's more personal, more deeper, more, it's just, it's got to be treated as what it is, and that it's not okay.
Absolutely. I think that sums it up really well, Katie, is that, it's not the same. It does cut in a certain way that I don't think people who aren't rainbow will understand. So yeah, thank you for that. Does anybody else have anything to share about rainbow specific bullying at school and how we can respond to that?
Yeah, I do have a story. When I came out maybe like 3-4 years ago at my school, I was bawling my eyes out. I was traumatized. I was so sad and afraid of what I was becoming. But one of my teachers, he noticed that I was in pain, of course, and he asked me into his office, and I just cried for an hour. He just listened. That's what he did. He listened, and that's what made me overcome the fear and vulnerability that I had back then, I think.
That's really powerful. I'm so glad that you had that staff member there to support you. And I think, we often get told as rainbow people that we're getting told these things that it's our fault for being so loud and proud and out there, and it's not such a big deal and stuff. So just listening and accepting that it's happening and it's real, and recognizing that, and giving people a little safe space, and it's a huge thing to overcome rainbow bullying. It's massive, but keeping in mind that even if it just helps one person, you're still helping one person. And I just wanted to read out, Abby's shared some stuff about, what are you proud of in our community? So coming out as queer has made Abby a better person, makes you more empathetic, compassionate, understanding, or accepting. And once you've started your journey and you're more confident in yourself, it makes you want to help others with their journey. And Abby sees that especially in the amazing school coordinators and those students just making it happen and making rainbow communities welcomed at school. They're saying, we're not going to wait for someone else to do it, we're going to do it. And that's really powerful. Did anyone else have any thoughts about rainbow focused bullying, and how you might challenge that or approach that?
I think it's not so much like it's a very bold one, but I think me and my friends at school are very persistent with showcasing our identities. We like to, if we see something that people don't like, we usually will try to fight against it by like making ourselves known about it, that we don't like what they're doing. And I think that's a more bold and radical way of like approaching something.
Yeah. not letting it be hidden or swept under the rug, being like, no, this is who I am. That's so cool.
Absolutely. We have a teacher on Facebook who has a comment about rainbow-specific bullying. So they say, I'm a teacher and also part of the rainbow community. I think it's really important to be proactive in your school, talk to management, and make sure policy supports the rainbow community. Make sure the school has a zero tolerance for rainbow bullying. So absolutely, having it in policy is a massive way that schools can be fantastic allies for their students. And also, Hale, do you know someone called Libby Cox? Because they have commented, maybe that's a teacher from your school, I'm not too sure. They said, I love the fact that Hale just mentioned about students and teachers alike. We have worked together to do a lot of activities this week, and it's been great to see our QSA working across the school.
Oh, I probably do. I might see you around.
I think. That's bringing up another quite cool question, you know, working together. What is something, perhaps a question that you would really like to see allies to rainbow communities or rainbow people doing? What's something that they can do that really like lifts you up and makes you feel good and seen and heard?
Could you please like repeat that question? Sorry, I didn't get the whole question.
No, that's okay. What is something that allies can do for rainbow people and rainbow communities that makes you feel really good, makes you feel seen, heard, supported, safe?
I think neutralizing the way you approach a scenario by like, you know, using gender neutral terms or like using at least one of like the genders when you're talking about scenarios, you know, boyfriend, girlfriend, partner. I think that actually makes me feel a bit included, safer about my identity. So yeah, that'd be great. Keep doing it.
Cool. Has anybody else got any other ways? I really like, yeah, language is a massive way of including people, and it can be sometimes the most simplest way that we do include people by just changing one term in a sentence. So yeah, thanks, Hale. Does anybody else have anything they want to share? While I can see some people talking in the chat as well.
Yep, so I think Amelia is typing and Josh has said, just speaking out against bullying or slurs whenever you hear it or see it, be an active bystander and show that it's not okay to bully people. So yeah, absolutely not waiting for the rainbow person to step in and do it, but saying, that's not okay, not here.
Yeah, also I would really recommend just being educated. That's one of the best things when you've got people around you who also know, like from an educated point of view, what's going on in the world in regards to the rainbow community, and being able to pick up when things aren't right or being just a bit controversial, and being able to help stop and also defend that, and yeah, just having a broader education so that we don't have to be educating all the time.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thanks, Oksana, for that. Yeah, absolutely. So going out and doing the education so it doesn't have to fall on our young people who also have to juggle school, NCA, and everything else that comes with being a teenager. So yeah, thank you. We have a couple of comments on, Inside Out have said in the chat, Inside Out can help with your education. So that's really great as well. But from Facebook, we have Phoebe who said, I just want to say that listening to you young people has been amazing. I came out when I was 28 years old, and this would never be tolerated. I'm so glad I can engage with our young rainbow community and know that if I cannot help them, that I can share them with others like yourselves, who will make them feel safe, connected, not alone, and loved for who they are. So thank you for that, Phoebe. That was really lovely.
Yeah. Amelia sent something really lovely through. So she came out to her friends as pansexual. Most of them are straight, but most of them accepted me. A few didn't. But the ones who accepted her stood up for her, and from that day on we've been closer. And a few of them come out as bi and gay to us, and now we watch out for others having a hard time and helping them through it. It's kind of a bit of a parallel there, being the first person to come out, paving the way for others, just how all of you, starting Pride Week, are paving the way for the people coming after you. And Sebi has shared, allies like your friends and people who care for you should be able to stand up for you and not be scared about protecting you to bullies and adults who aren't as accepting. But that's not saying you can't stand up for yourself, also true. But I think it's nice to know someone is there for you. And yeah, it's easier to stand up for yourself when you know other people have got your back. Absolutely.
Yeah, I really liked what Amelia said about being the first person in the group, and then what you said, Emmett, about paving that way. I visit a lot of schools, and there's so much that they're determined to do, and it's great to see that determination. But I think like the biggest reminder about being a part of a rainbow group is that it's not a sprint, it's a relay. And it's just about passing that baton on to the next year levels who are going to continue doing that work. So thanks to everybody who's starting that for a lot of the groups that they are a part of. Sage on Facebook has said, just when they see people in the LGBT community being discriminated against, not just standing back and not saying anything if they use the wrong pronouns, correcting themselves. So again, people taking accountability and showing up.
Absolutely. Did we have anyone else, either from the panelists or from the Zoom, who wanted to add anything in there?
I think maybe also normalizing the fact that some people aren't straight, and like most people aren't straight. Like, yeah, somebody might come at you, but it shouldn't affect you too much, really. It shouldn't affect their identity and how you perceive them. They're just not going to date anybody that you would normally date, if you get what I mean. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a really good point. And yeah, just a reminder, we've got about 20 more minutes. So if anyone has questions, like, oh, I might want to ask that, post them in the chat. If you're really shy, you can send them to me privately on the chat in Zoom and I can read them out. Lauren is typing something and hopefully I'll be able to read that in the moment. But I would like to throw another slightly big question at you, and I'll give you a couple minutes to think about it. I just kind of realized that I am kind of like 10 years ago, I was where a lot of our panelists are now, the same kind of year levels at school. So there's kind of 10 years. And a decade ago, none of this could have happened. Like this didn't happen. This wasn't common. It would have felt really dangerous and uncomfortable, and the staff and all, just really wouldn't have happened. And then this has been this huge change. So to our panelists, what do you hope rainbow people in schools are going to look like in another decade? When you're sitting where we are, what do you hope to be seeing and hoping to like see happening on social media or be hearing from your friends? What are you looking forward to? Just, a small question.
I'd love to know if anybody's watching, if they'd want to add in the chat as well what we hope schools look like in about 10 years' time as well for our rainbow young people.
I'm just typing this up and putting it in the chat so it's easy to reference.
Hey, well, did you have an answer for us? You look like you're ready to.
Okay, I'm gonna try to put this into one straightforward answer. I think in the future I'd like to see more schools, like especially religious schools, accepting this. I know my school, I think the teachers have received this Pride Week very warmly, and I'm from a Catholic school. So I hope more schools will be more open about this and start opening some more safe spaces for rainbow people, because I think it's really important that teachers are involved.
Yeah. Awesome. That's, yeah, really exciting. I'm looking forward to it already. We had a couple, so Lauren has said, a lot of my friends and I are part of our rainbow group, and I think it's really cool that I have a place that is safe for me to be myself and that I have people to stand up for me. Lucky for me, my parents and most of my friends are very accepting, but I know other people don't have that, and I'm glad they have a place to go that is very safe and accepting no matter who you are. And I think Sebi and Max are typing. Did any of the other panelists have any thoughts about what you want schools to look like a decade from now for rainbow people?
Yeah. I think it would be like how it would be normal for bathrooms to not be gendered. It would be normal for things to not be gendered. It would just all be less of a big deal, but also still a cool thing. You know, like it would be just so normal that no one thinks anything of it. It's just, oh, you know, that's the gender neutral bathroom. But all of them will be like that, and it'll just be more accepted and more open. And the education will start from a younger age at appropriate things, and it'll kind of not just be all at once. There'll be more education and awareness, and I don't know, it'll be just more open, I guess.
That's great. And it leads so perfectly onto what Max has just shared as well. I hope to see the future that we don't need QSAs to be able to have a safe space, but the whole school is a safe space, being able to learn together and grow like-minded. That's the dream, right? That's what it all looks like. We start with this QSA and then we just expand it until it's everyone.
I've got a couple of hopeful comments on Facebook for what they hope schools will look like in the future. Sage says, I'm looking forward to the idea of LGBT being more normalized and people accepting and celebrating it openly as well. And Sophia says, I think that legal name changes and gender changes will be so much easier, which is a future that I'm excited to see. And also that various pronouns will be more accepted as well. Yeah, I think those are very excited things to look forward to. And one of the conversations with a young person that I had a while ago about something that we would want is, and a future that I would love to have, is where trans people can feel euphoric in bathrooms, which feels like a very simple thing. But yeah, I look forward to the day where trans people can feel euphoria in a bathroom, where people often don't think is somewhere that's very exciting.
Or if they don't, it's because the bathroom's gross, not because, you know.
Exactly.
Yeah. Any of our other panelists have any amazing dreams for the future?
Yeah, I have something. I guess one thing that I'd really like to see is that the groups would be able to do more things in their school without questioning maybe we shouldn't do this because of backlash or other students, because I know that's something that comes up quite often with ideas we have, is maybe we shouldn't because of other students. So I'd really like for people to be able to do whatever their ideas are without thinking, oh, maybe we shouldn't.
That sense of safety, and yeah, that's really powerful. Sebi has shared, in the future, I think that all schools should talk about the subject of LGBTQI+ people, and for it to not be a secret subject stuck in the corner. Like in the talks about growing up, to be about what it will be like for LGBTQI+ students as well. And also students should be more open about being in the LGBTQI+ community. Like, imagine if it was just like being left-handed, you know, people like, oh, hey, you're left-handed, me too. You know, and it was just that sort of thing. And Amelia has said, for me, to see it all a lot more normalized, and they do more in primary schools, having gender neutral things and having groups well known instead of small groups that no one knows about. and teaching LGBTQ plus history as a subject, because it's really interesting. There's some really cool, some really cool stuff that you can learn, and amazing things that our, rainbow ancestors have done and changed the world. Let's, hear about them. Have you got any other things coming through from Facebook over there, Peter Zay?
Yeah, we have a few Facebook comments, which is fantastic to see. Someone else talking, having rainbow history is a big one. Absolutely. I mean, I know more about America's rainbow history than I do about New Zealand, so I'd love to know more about Aotearoa's rainbow history. And then we've kind of gone over what teachers can do to help and support the rainbow community earlier. But there is another part of the question in regards to, is it good for students to have visible teachers who are a part of the rainbow community at school?
Oh yeah, what do you think, panelists?
Yeah, I would definitely say yes. I knew the first time, so when I came in through intermediate, I was still like really terrified of everyone in college, and I wouldn't put anything rainbow anywhere because I was like, no, that's a big no, nobody can know. And we had one, we had a couple out teachers and an out principal, which was like absolutely revolutionary to my mind. And like our health teacher was LGBT, and she taught us like genuinely what relationships look like, and not just like the 20-minute, oh yeah, that's another side. And that absolutely changed my world in year 9. It changed my view, it changed everything for me. So definitely one of the biggest, most important things in school.
For sure. And Penny's pointed out in the chat, it's not always easy for teachers to be out either. So I think that we'll really appreciate when they do that, and that is so, we recognize what they're doing for us, and that's so awesome. And we also have to think about those teachers when we talk about rainbow bullying in schools. Are we thinking about the adults as well? And Laura had pointed out we're still dreaming of a hopeful future where there would be LGBTQ plus education in classes, especially sex education. Did anyone else have anything to share about like teachers and school staff who are out and part of the rainbow community?
Yeah, I think that. Oh.
You go.
You go. Okay. Oh. You first, Katie.
Okay. I think it's important for there to be someone for students to look up to and see that they can get to that no matter what. Like, they can get there, whether that teacher is out as whatever or just out as an ally. It's really important that they can see that and see that there's a future for them, because sometimes you don't feel like there is, and that's quite hard. So to see an adult, like someone that you can look up to, someone that you know, and someone who has like a life outside of that, it's quite important. I mean, some of my favorite teachers have been out, and it's just, I feel like it's needed. As long as it's safe and as long as it's okay, I don't see why you wouldn't have it.
Yeah, I think that it's great having a teacher that's out. It's very empowering for students, like Katie said. But I feel like sometimes there's an issue with teachers being out. I think not sure if it's a real thing at our school, but a lot of teachers don't want to disclose their identity because it protects their personal life. I know some students might talk about their school life to their parents, and I feel like parents become an issue if they're not okay with other people's identities. And having backlash for teachers from parents is a bit of an issue. So I feel like parents also need a bit of understanding and education again, and be accepting and understanding towards teachers, because teachers have a great job, very important job, but they don't get appreciated enough for it.
Yeah, Amelia's just shared in the chat, her old principal is gay and he tried to come out to the school, but he got backlash from parents and students and was driven out of the school because he wasn't getting support. But in college we have teachers that have got LGBTQ plus flags up, so we know we can talk to them. And some of this is making me think again, all the lovely things you were saying before about community and connection, is that, you know, you're seeing these teachers and you're being like, okay, you might be like an adult and I'm a young person. We might not know each other outside of school, but you're still my people, and we've got to look out for each other and connect and have each other's backs. So I know that if I'd had rainbow teachers at my school, it would have been just amazing. It's reassuring for parents too sometimes to be able to see, look, your kids can be successful and, you know, make it through.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm loving hearing our young people talk about supporting these teachers as well, who are having to navigate systems that are really scary at school. And, you know, you're saying, yeah, if you feel safe enough, we'd love to have you out. But, you know, if you don't, you know, look after you. So, yeah, again, that community that we have is fantastic. And Sage says on Facebook, I believe it is important to have teachers who are out at school because it means that students know teachers and people who they can go to talk to if they need to, knowing that they won't be judged. They have a teacher at their school who's out and everyone knows, and she is so open with talking about it and answering questions to students, and she is one of the main teachers, a part of our rainbow group. So yeah, that community sounds amazing. Thanks, Sage.
Alrighty, so we have only got about 7 minutes left now, so last minute questions, please send them in. But in the meantime, I don't want to end on a difficult note. So there's a question here in our drive, is like, what are the biggest challenges you think are facing rainbow young people and rainbow students especially? So I'd love to hear that, but maybe also, what are the biggest strengths that rainbow students have when facing those challenges?
So I think a strength that we as a generation have is that we're very vocal about issues that we need to address. What did I write down earlier? Yeah, I feel like, as well as other things like racism, discrimination, and politics, the health and safety of students that are slightly different is just as important as addressing like other like more out there topics, if you get what I mean. I think that's a great strength for us.
We can definitely see that you are being so vocal and so powerful, and that's amazing.
What was the first part of your question? Sorry.
So what were the challenges that you think rainbow students are facing, but then what are also their like strengths that they're facing, or that they have, that they're facing the world with?
I would say everyone struggles through high school, through like, you know, you're growing up, you're finding out who you are. But as a rainbow person, that's a lot harder because I guess it's a lot harder. It's a whole nother side of it. It's another thing to figure out on top of everything else. It's another thing that's not so commonly talked about. It's just like another block in the road, but it's not, you know, like it's a great thing. And once you've overcome that, and you can keep growing and changing forever, but once you kind of get your feet in the, that you know what you're talking about, you know, have a rough idea, it's quite rewarding. It's, yeah, I don't know.
I think you summed that up pretty well, Katie, for someone who's like, I don't know.
Sebi's sharing, I think a strength for this generation of LGBTQIA+ community is that we are loud and proud about who we are, but a challenge is that we're open to bullies. At my old school, a bully was throwing rocks because they didn't accept a transgender person. That's really horrible. I'm so sorry about that, and I hope you got lots of support. I know one thing that I see working with young people as a real strength at the moment is that you have this, like, I was going to say hope that things can be better, but it's more than a hope. It's like a belief. You know, there's a post I saw recently. It's like, I'm getting better and I'm taking all of you up with me. Like, you're going to do it. You're not being like, oh, maybe. You're like, no, we're going to make it better no matter what. And I think that's really impressive. You're not afraid to dream and, you know, commit to those dreams. Do we have anyone else who wanted to share about what strengths you think they have?
I'll add on to what I said. Yes. I think it helps you to develop resilience and like a lot of skills that you can use in other things. It's really hard, but you learn, you grow and you learn, and it's important to not just be like, oh, I've passed that, it's done now. You've got to remember those things and make them a part of you in positive ways, and so help let them build you up and make you a better person. And it makes you adaptable. It makes you able to handle things that I guess other people might not necessarily be able to because they haven't had to before. It's just experience.
And I would just want to add, very similarly, like people, I would say like most of the students at my school, they normalize using the word gay and, you know, like and all that stuff as an insult. And I think that is one challenge that lots of queer LGBTQ people have in this time. And I would say like we as queer and LGBTQ people, we are able to tolerate and be strong as a community and as an individual to stand up to those kinds of bullies and all that.
Fantastic. All right, there is a lot of strength and a lot of communal strength. Did any of our other panelists wanted to share just before we kind of wrap up? Amelia's saying, yeah, as this generation, we're not scared to stand up for each other and call out others. Yes, it's so powerful.
This one's not much of a strength, it's more of a challenge. Coming from like a Catholic background, I think the old Catholic rules are still like what like bind us to, it kind of just keeps us from progressing forward, especially people who have not been in a family where this is the set of values that we're going to keep. And then moving past something that you've grown up with becomes hard. And then when you go to school, it's more embedded in your kind of your morality, I guess. And then moving past that and finding your own identity because you've had this background is also very hard. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. You know, we're talking about our rainbow identities, but as you said, we come with also a range of so many other identities as well, that we have to figure out at the same time too. So sometimes they do clash, and figuring out and navigating our way through that can be tough. So yeah, thanks, Hale. One of the strengths that I see in the community, and specific to, you know, Gen Z, is how creative they are. You know, like, not only do you have TikTok for having fun, but you're out there educating people on TikTok, you know, and it's like a platform for everything, it seems like. So yeah, well done to Gen Z for that. And also what Katie was saying about all the resilience and everything that you acquire when you're growing up as a rainbow young person. You know, that's a pretty stacked CV if you're applying for jobs. You know, those are a lot of qualities that they want. So yeah, feel free to put the whole rainbow community down as a reference when you need to, yeah, get those jobs.
Amazing. Thank you all so much for sharing, both to our wonderful panelists and all the people joining in who have been contributing and jumping into this conversation. And I just want to hand back over to Tabby. Oh, and Penny saying you're an amazing group of young people. Keep sharing and being supportive of each other. Keep talking. And thanks for letting Penny be here. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for letting me be here. This is great.
Kia ora tātou. I just wanted to say that was amazing. It was so wonderful to hear all of your ideas and thoughts and really insightful questions. Got teary at a few points as well, like thinking again back to like 10 years ago, and like so amazing to kind of hear where we're at now and where we need to go as well. So much still to be done, but you're all just incredible. So I just wanted to just say a few thank yous really. So I just wanted to acknowledge firstly Peter, and Emmett, thank you so much for facilitating our panel, and to all of our wonderful panelists, but also all of the amazing people chipping in both on Facebook and on the Zoom chat. Thank you so much for sharing your experiences too, because our experiences can be so diverse and we all have stuff to kind of learn from each other. I also just wanted to give a shout out to Chloe, who is our Schools Pride Week coordinator, who's been doing all the behind the scenes work to put everything together, all the amazing graphics and posters. So thanks so much to Chloe, while also running Pride Week at the school that they teach at. So very impressive work, and a little baby in their family recently. So it's because we got delayed from having, originally it would have been in June. So they've been dealing with heaps. So thank you, Chloe. And to all of our youth advisory group members, so to Katie, Hale and Max, who are on the panel tonight, and then there's also some people that couldn't make it tonight, who is just wanting to acknowledge Chanel, Hariata, Shanae and Tony, and thank them for all of their awesome work helping us to put this together as well. And to all of you who've been running Pride Week in your schools, all the staff members and students coming together to make it happen for the first time. So kind of a historic moment in Aotearoa history. So I hope you're really proud of the work that you're doing. And I think, like someone was saying before, thinking about how that's going to benefit and passing on that baton to future people as well. Yes, and of course, thanks to Ty and Oksana as well, all of the incredible panelists tonight. Those two joined us very last minute to just share, which is very appreciated, and we had some people who couldn't make it. So thank you. Oh, that's a lot of thank yous. One last thank you is to the Rainbow Charitable Trust in New Zealand. They are the funders for Schools Pride Week this year. We only got a very small grant to kind of put it together. So it's just been pretty impressive what we've been able to do, and to have so many schools involved with like such a small amount of money and time. Cool. And then finally, I just wanted to remind everyone that Inside Out is here all of the time, basically, to support you. So if tonight has brought up some stuff for you, then feel free to reach out to us, whether that's, ideas for how to make Pride Week better, or you're thinking about some stuff going on in your school that you want some help with, or you haven't connected with us before, and after tonight you're wondering kind of how we can help. So, or perhaps you've really enjoyed chatting with, it's been so cool to like hear from different schools and young people around the country. So we do run Queued Up Aotearoa, which is most months for young people around the country from different schools to come and have a chat, and then we also run regional ones. So can find lots of info out about that, but if you're not aware of it, the best way is to follow us on social media, or to just send us an email. And just a reminder as well, there's always, like, if you need to talk to someone, there's not somebody that you trust or can talk to, there's places like 0800 Outline, which is a phone line for the Rainbow community, 6 to 9 p.m. every night. There's also places like Kids Line, Youth Line, free text to 1737. So places like that that are there to support you, as well as Inside Out and your schools and lots of other places. So never hesitate to kind of reach out if you need to talk to someone, because for all the amount, the bullying and discrimination that you'll face, there'll be so many more people that are supportive, even if it's not always visible. So don't forget that. We love you. All right, goodbye. I'll pass it back to Emmett.
Okay. Thank you. Oh, no, I'm not on mute. That's okay. So thank you all so much. And this was really lovely. It's a lovely way to end end the day. It's been very, very rainy and downcast where I am, so like a really lovely, happy way to end it. I hope everyone, if you're doing something for Pride Week tomorrow, I hope you really enjoy it. If you're not, I hope you get to like enjoy it secondhand. I'm sure there's going to be lots of posts on social media. And yeah, just thank you everyone so much, and we will catch you next time.